Hey, what's shaking Fremont and surrounding areas? This is Sunny. I'm here in Clyde, 203 West Buckeye Street at the new restaurant called the Buckeye Restaurant and Suites. I tell you what an amazing place this once was and now is even better. I tell you what, they have done a marvelous job renovating the place, starting almost from scratch in some areas, hiring some skilled laborers to redo some of the woodwork. It's just amazing. I'm going to talk to Doug here, the new owner, and we're going to go over some of the details behind it, some of the history of the house. But I remember being here as a kid. I used to hang out with the Michaels family, and who owned this house for years, and has a lot of history here, a lot of memories here with myself and a lot of people here in the Clyde area. Just a beautiful place then and now is just amazing. I can't believe it. Let's just go talk to Doug. All right, we'll be right back. All right, what's shaking Fremont? This is Sunny here in the big town of Clyde, the big town, my former hometown. I'm talking with Doug Boyer. How you doing, Doug?
I'm doing wonderful. What a beautiful morning.
What a beautiful day, and what a beautiful place you have here in Clyde. And this is at 203 Buckeye, right?
Correct. West Buckeye, yep.
West Buckeye, and we're at the Buckeye Restaurant and Suites. And how long have you owned this?
We purchased the house 3 years ago, and when we purchased it, we thought we were going to buy the house, which is just a magnificent home, 125-year-old house. We thought we were going to restore a piece of Clyde history, kind of save a house, and we thought we were actually just going to sell the house as a private residence. And about halfway through the entire experience, it just really was laid on my heart that this would make an absolutely wonderful opportunity to pursue something I've wanted to do my entire life, and that was to open a restaurant.
I tell you what, it is beautiful. I've been inside for a few minutes, and it's amazing. You did an amazing job, and the it's kind of like the history that we've always been told was President McKinley was here with like 3,000, 4,000 people, and I heard that you debunked that.
We didn't debunk it. I just recently retired from the military. So one of the things that we've always kind of pursued in the military is we love a good story, but we really appreciate truth.
Right.
And as we started to look at the history of this, we could not find where there was any historical record of President McKinley speaking here other than the sign that hung out front. So we started looking very closely. We worked with Gene Smith at the museum, which is just a half a block from here, and Sharon Kinnear, who's walking across the street right now. And we realized that the 3,000 people that we saw in the picture actually was not President McKinley standing on the balcony or the veranda, which was right above me right now.
Yeah.
What it actually was Joseph Forker, who was the 36th governor of Ohio, and he was campaigning on behalf of President McKinley, who stayed at his home in Canton and did a front porch campaign for president. And Senator Forker, or Governor Forker, was actually running for the U.S. Senate to represent the state of Ohio. So he was the one that he actually came here to Clyde to give a speech, which was just, a couple hundred people was a big speech.
Yeah.
That was a lot of people here in Clyde. And what had happened in Clyde was during the 1890s, there was a significant fire downtown, and it burned down a lot of downtown, and so they weren't able to they were afraid to push all these 3,000 people back into downtown, so they ended up deciding that they would use what was a field at that particular point, just have everybody stay out in the field and kind of gather around in here, and then they put the senator up on our veranda, and he gave a rousing speech to 3,500 people that afternoon, and it was quite a moment for the city of Clyde. So it was not President McKinley, it was Governor Forker who was running for the U.S. Senate, and he was, though, campaigning for McKinley during the same campaign.
So even today, if 3,000 people showed up, it'd be huge. And back then, it had to be amazing to see that.
It really was.
The energy. Wow. Now, how long, you said you've had this house, how long did it take you to reconstruct it, from the inside out? I know it's beautiful inside.
We bought the house a little over 3 years ago,
Uh-huh.
and the Michaels family had done a wonderful job for many years. We
Yeah.
were so proud of what they did, but these houses, it's big. So we
Yeah.
embarked on a journey to restore it, which included nearly a mile's worth of new wiring.
Oh my
Every
gosh.
every inch of wiring. We put 6 bathrooms in the
Six
home.
bath.
6 bathrooms, that's correct, and it's a lot of it is vintage. We put in the
Wow.
marble and just some beautiful tile work that Byron Boyack did a lot of our tile
Did
work.
he?
He did a
Oh,
terrific job,
wow.
and we had all the floors. We restored a lot of plaster, new ceilings upstairs, 2 new air conditioners, 2 new furnaces the climate control in a house that now today it's almost 4,000 square foot.
Oh boy.
That took quite a bit of energy. We reconfigured the upstairs, making just some absolutely gorgeous suites up there.
Wow.
And we, even like the yard, we ended up putting 7,000 square foot of sod. We took the driveway out, we put a real driveway in, we painted the entire house. We landscaped everything, put in a wheelchair ramp, rebuilt the front porch, new pillars. We're still working a little bit on the veranda. Uh, New kitchen, restored every inch of woodwork in the house, with the exception
Uh-huh.
of the dining room ceiling, which that is original to the home, and that was what I fell in love with, was that
Boy.
beautiful ceiling in that dining room.
How many suites do you have?
We have 3, but we're gonna hold off.
Okay.
I've got some really good cooks. We got a really delicious menu.
Oh boy.
And so those gentlemen that were just leaving here a little bit ago, were a couple of consultants that
Uh-huh.
work with a very large restaurant equipping company, and then we have another consultant that we're working with. They tend to think that we might actually want to use the suites upstairs for additional dining rooms.
Okay.
And with Corona here, it's important that we're sensitive to create that physical distancing,
Right.
and the fact that we actually could have 5 separate dining rooms on the property.
Yeah.
Plus, we've got this beautiful front yard that we're putting picnic tables, and we've got this terrific front porch that we've got some
Yeah. Some
beautiful
tables
tables
out there.
on,
Yeah.
which the tables in itself have lived here in this neighborhood for 120 years. There's a story behind
Oh
those.
boy. Really.
Yeah. My home is a block from here,
Really.
and we had these huge silver maple trees. One of them was 17 foot around. So
17 foot
we
round.
we brought in bridge cranes. The trees had long since lived a life.
Yeah.
Typically, a silver maple is going to last maybe 60, 70 years. Well, these trees were well over 100 years old. And so we ended up cutting these trees down 6 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and we cured them out at Adam Decker's. Decker Custom Woodworking's out Ballville area.
Right.
And
Right.
so Adam sat on these trees for 5 years wondering what I was going to do with them. And he put them in his kiln for 6 months, and he actually built the table. So
Oh
these
boy.
trees lived here in the neighborhood for 120 years, 115 years. They went out to Adams, which we call that their college years, and they made little baby tables. And
Amazing.
so yeah,
They're beautiful. I
thank
wonder
you.
where they came from.
Yeah, Adam
That's
Decker.
amazing. I
Adam
saw
does.
Decker on there. Yeah, the 2019. He stamped it on there.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow,
wonderful
amazing.
tables. We have a lot more wood still out at Adams, so when we move on to new projects, we'll still continue with those Adam Decker tables, because people look at them and like, wow, you didn't buy these in your local restaurant equipment store, so.
So we're right now serving breakfast and meals throughout the day. What has been like the most popular meal? I know you've only been open a week
Oh,
or a
we've
couple
actually,
weeks.
we officially opened under a temporary permit
Okay.
on Saturday, which we're still operating
Okay.
under a
So
temporary
just
permit.
recently, real
Yeah.
recently.
Oh, less than a week.
Wow. Okay.
So Sandusky County, we've just loved the folks over at the health department, because they're putting safety first, which was a
Right.
priority. That we took a look at those steps as far as food sanitation, how we're training our employees, the whole thing. We looked at that very closely, and then coronavirus hit,
Right.
which pushed us back several months. So that was a real scare for us, whether or not we'd ever get to open.
Uh-huh.
And so finally, Sandusky County, they've graciously allowed us to go ahead and do a temporary
Okay.
operator's permit to kind of get open. That we'll have that for the next couple of weeks before we get our permanent pit. But they're coming in here and inspecting this place to make sure that we're
No problem. I'm
using
sure it's
the.
beautiful in there. It's clean. I love it. You're the perfect guy to take over. I tell you what.
Well, thank
I
you.
can just tell.
It's
Your
just,
heart's in it. You got passion, and you're living here, and
you know,
everything.
it's for us. You know, we gave this house, we gave it a second chance,
Yeah.
and I think all of us are looking for that second chance. Clyde's had some rough years. You know, I mean,
Yes.
we've had some black eyes over the years. There's every community,
Right.
but
Right.
Clyde is a resilient community, and you know, I look around and I thought, you know, something. We want to make this thing everybody's first job that they talk about for the rest of their
Yeah.
life. We want to find
Right.
people that want to learn a new skill. We wanted to find all of our local artists and use all of our walls to just display local art that's for sale. Give them that opportunity to sell some of their local art. Uh, we want this to basically become that community fellowship hall. You know, that where you sit down, you have a cup of coffee. My dream, I literally, you look at these beautiful streets out here. My dream is literally to see that couple come walking in Friday that you know that it's that hard week.
Right.
They have a nice dinner, a wonderful bowl of ice cream, little dessert, and you see them hold hands when they walk out the door.
Oh yeah.
That's what this place is all about. It's a second chance.
It's a great place, man, Doug. I thank you for taking your time. Talk about it. I'm gonna order some breakfast, and hopefully you can show me one of the sweets or something.
Oh, I'll show you all the sweets.
All right.
Everything.
Thanks a lot, Doug.
No problem, Sonny.